Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the historical drama Victoria and Abdul, which actually has a lot more comedy in it than you probably would have expected. And I rather enjoyed this film quite a bit. Now, is this a great film? It's not on that level. But is it something that I would watch again and really enjoy because of the talented cast and the dialogue and the humor about it? Yes, I would, because this was indeed a pretty good film. And Stephen Frears, who also did Philomena and The Queen, does a fantastic job of putting this film together and trying to balance these two main characters and everything going on around them. Now, there's parts where the with the story and trying to balance everything, I think it does a good job in terms of balancing the characters and giving us all the perspectives we're supposed to be getting in this film. And also, the pacing of this film, I thought this moved along pretty well. And I leave a lot to some of the tonal choices in keeping this film moving because it does deal with some heavier things. It really does. And unfortunately, I don't think those scenes work as well as some of the more comedic scenes, which this has a very natural, fun feel to it, and especially with those scenes that are targeting towards that, but it does hit on some level, and I really did care about the friendship between Queen Victoria and Abdul, and I thought that it was very natural, and there was a lot of chemistry between the two of them, and I thought that was really well shown in this film, and I did feel for both of them, and I felt bad when things happened to them or their friendships, and when everyone was acting like a complete jerk in this film towards him because racists, a lot of racists in this film. And I'm going to get to that when it comes to the writing and the themes of this film, but that was something that I thought was very interesting on how topical and relevant this film could actually be in terms of modern day life. But along with the really well done job that Stephen Frears does as the director for this film, we also have our cinematographer Danny Cohen, who does a really nice job of shooting this film. Everything looks very beautiful and really stands out and well shot and great camera work. There's some cool shots throughout this film, including when they showed this new room based off of culture of India, and how the camera moves down across this room and really gives the expanse of what we're supposed to be looking at and really fulfilling the awe that we're supposed to be feeling on how amazing this room looks and everything that's within inside it. Now, the writing, which was done by Lee Hall, I thought that is really worked as a friendship, budding friendship kind of movie, and the scenes where Queen Victoria and Abdul were in it really worked well, and I thought it was a very interesting and engaging story, and them as characters felt really, really fleshed out and interesting, and they stood out, and it wasn't two cookie cutter characters. You really cared about them and got a sense of who they were. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the other characters in this film feel like cookie cutter kind of stereotypes of the times, and only a few of the actors in the film actually bring anything else to these characters that make them really stand out, because a lot of them just feel like comic relief. And I'll get to the acting in a moment, but in terms of the dialogue, there's some really snappy dialogue and a lot of burns that Judi Dench is able to throw out as Queen Victoria that I really appreciated. One of my biggest drawbacks of this film, though, there's quite a few moments that don't feel very timely and feel like, and what I'm trying to express is they don't feel correct in time and when this movie's supposed to take place. It feels very anachronistic, and how some of the characters react and some of their movements of like fist pumping and stuff like that, I'm just like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel like somebody from Victorian era England would react in this situation. It seems like how somebody of today would react. So that threw me off a little bit with some of the choices and some of the dialogue that some of the characters had. And in terms of the depth of this film, the themes of friendship and honestly loneliness, and this deals with how people feel at advanced age when more people start leaving them than joining them in life, and trying to balance that, and also overcoming racial issues, which this film deals with very much and head on and very right in the face. And there's a lot of moments that are hard to watch because of the prejudice that's being shown, but this is what happens, and it still happens today. So I think that this was very topical to be able to show in terms of today's society. Now, the acting. Judi Dench was amazing in this film, and I can see her getting nominated for Best Actress for this film because she's really on her game. She shows emotions very well. You feel the sadness in her situation, but you feel the joy that feels so real when she's happy in this film, and you feel that power and that screen presence that she brings to everything. And then you have Ali Fazal, who plays Abdul, and he was very charming. He had a way about him that was very likable, but also you could see where he could come off being a little much for some people that don't know him as well, and him feeling like that fish out of water and trying to find himself and his footing. I thought Ali Fazal did a very good job with that. The only supporting character that I'm really going to bring up is her son Bertie, who is played by Eddie Izzard, of all people, who, now, he needed to be the scummiest human being in the world for his character to work in this film and what he was supposed to get across, and boy did Eddie Izzard bring that to this role. He felt so slimy with his movements and mother, and how he's talked, and all of his acting choices, and how he presented himself, and how he walked with his cane and kind of waddled a bit so grossly. And he really fits into being the antagonist of this film, and you really buy him, and I really enjoyed him in this film. And I also wanted to talk about the production design, because the costumes and everything in this film look absolutely beautiful. This was really well done period piece. Stephen Frears shows that he can do these kinds of things very well, and I really appreciated that. Now, the it factor, my final thoughts on this film, it's a very heartwarming, friendship-centered character study, honestly, that really centers on these two people as human beings, but mixed with the very relevant social commentary that I thought was very important to show in this film. Now, I'm going to give Victoria and Abdul a B.